Hey guys, it's Eric from Yugatech, and this year Realme Philippines has been on a roll, launching new devices left and right. And in this video, we're going to be checking out the newest Realme series released this year, the Realme 13 series. Specifically, we'll be checking out the Realme 13 Pro, but if you want to check out our other video on the Realme 13 Pro Plus, you can do so by clicking right here. Just like its predecessor, the Realme 13 should be great for content creators who need great cameras but don't want to splurge for flagship level money. To give you an idea of just what this phone is capable of, it features a Sony LYT600 main camera, a Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset, and a large 5200 mAh battery. Not to mention a very affordable price tag. But enough of me yapping, let's get right into this video of our review of the Realme 13 Pro. Let's start with the design of the Realme 13 Pro. The phone sports a very premium feel with curved edges and a glass back panel, and what feels like a matte finish. Our unit, which is in the Monet purple colorway, has a design inspired by you-know-who, Monet's artworks mixed with Realme's personal touches. I'm really happy that Realme kept the design of the camera island, which is this large circular design, which is inspired from the Realme 12 series, and it also reminds me of some luxury watches. But they did get rid of the zipper design, which runs down the middle. But because of this change, the phone is now a bit more indistinguishable from its more capable sibling, the Realme 13 Pro Plus 5G, which you can check out here. I mean, they look identical. But for those of you curious, the difference between this and this one lies in the model's smaller camera sensor, which we'll talk more about later on. In terms of ergonomics, it's sleek and feels very light, weighing only 190 grams, complemented by an 8.23mm thin form factor. It also has an IP65 rating for dust and water resistance, but of course, you should be careful with your phone. For buttons and ports, the power switches and volume rockers are on the right side, and as for the left side, it's clean from anything. At the bottom, you get one of the two loudspeakers, the USB Type-C charging port, and the dual SIM card slot. At the top, you'll find the other loudspeaker and a secondary microphone. And if you'll notice, no more 3.5mm audio port. Overall though, thanks to the redesign, the phone looks and feels a lot more premium compared to before. I also appreciate how Realme didn't really change how the design of the phone looks, since the Realme 12 was a great looking phone already to begin with. Moving on to the display, the Realme 13 Pro boasts a curved OLED screen with an adaptive refresh rate of up to 120Hz. This is also covered by Corning Gorilla Glass 7i, making it well protected and quite durable. The display does quite well even under bright sunlight. It typically offers 600 nits, but it can go up to 2000 nits, making it very bright. I've used it for video binges on YouTube out in the sun, and it does so quite well since I can still see everything that's happening on the screen. The screen itself is quite immersive, which I believe is largely due to the razor-thin bezels, as you'll see here. The screen offers vibrant colors, deep blacks, and true-to-life hues as something you would expect from an OLED panel. Plus, its high refresh rate gives buttery smooth animations, giving you a more immersive viewing experience, especially when you're watching videos on YouTube, your series, on this phone. For audio, the device does come with high-res dual stereo speakers. These were fairly louder than I expected, judging from how thin this phone was, and not to mention, the audio was quite clear and you do have a decent soundstage. So even though you don't have a 3.5mm audio jack, still pretty decent if you're gonna be watching with the loudspeakers. Moving on, and we have to go and talk about the cameras because, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the highlights of this phone. Interestingly though, compared to the previous triple camera system offered by the Realme 12 Plus, the Realme 13 Pro only sports a dual rear camera. Yeah, I know, don't be fooled by the design of the camera island. For reference, Realme Philippines did not offer the Realme 12 Pro before, and instead we only had the Realme 12 Plus, which we did a full review if you want to check out over here. Or we'll drop a link down in the description below, so you can just compare. In terms of specs, the cameras on the Realme 13 Pro are somewhat similar to the Realme 12 Plus. You get a 50 megapixel main camera, but this now uses the more capable Sony LYT600 sensor paired with an 8 megapixel wide angle sensor. At the front, you get a 32 megapixel Sony IMX615 sensor for all your selfie needs, and of course also your video calls. With that, somewhat similar save for the absence of a macro sensor, which was available on the Realme 12 Plus. But one thing the Realme 13 Pro does have an advantage over the Realme 12, its predecessor, is the use of AI features, which makes this phone just a lot more capable in terms of capturing content and shooting. I mean, just check out some of the images we were able to capture on this device. The cameras work seamlessly and can help users take flagship level portraits in most conditions. Subjects take center stage with crisp quality, sharp details, and minimal effort. To further elaborate on that last part, the device leverages AI Ultra Clarity. The Realme 13 Pro 5G uses AI to offer higher resolutions and improve the clarity of your photos being taken. The phone makes post-processing a lot easier by doing it by itself, but at the same time retaining all of the details you would want from your photo. As a result, even when you're shooting at various lighting conditions such as at night, you have a nice balance of the highlights and shadows. And not to mention, there's not a lot of grain too. Even though you do have AI enhancement, it's not smoothened out, so still looks good. Users will definitely notice this when they check their photos after shooting. Sometimes it takes a while for the camera or at least the phone to load and process the image, but the wait is definitely worth it. And if you want to shoot video instead, it's a similar story. When you're shooting video on this phone, the AI enhancement isn't as prominent here as compared to when you're taking photos, but you do see it at work and it does help when it comes to stabilizing the video and so on and so forth. This phone can shoot up to 4K at 30 FPS, and you do have an ultra steady feature available, but it's only available at 1080p at 60 FPS max. But if you want to get those cinematic shots, at least you can. All things considered, the cameras were pleasantly surprising. The processing wasn't too aggressive, even with the camera's beauty mode left running in some photos. Overall, you will definitely enjoy capturing and creating content using the Realme 13 Pro. The Realme 13 Pro runs on Realme UI 5.0, which is based on Android 14. For our viewers that are looking to upgrade from existing Realme devices, well, nothing much has really changed software-wise. You still have the usual bloatware, including folders such as the hot games and hot apps, which you will probably end up deleting. Although, compared to before, you now have some AI features available, like AI screen recognition and AI smart loop that you can turn on under the accessibilities menu in the settings. Other than that though, you have the usual split view, floating windows, and more. Aside from the addition of AI features though, which I didn't really use that much, there aren't too many notable features with this software skin. With that, if you're an Android user or, as I mentioned earlier, an existing Realme user, you will feel right at home when you're using this phone. Under the hood, the device is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset, as I mentioned earlier. For graphics-wise, it has an Adreno 710 GPU at the helm. For reference, our review unit is configured with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. And if you want more memory, you can virtually expand RAM by up to additional 12GB. And with that, as you can expect, you can easily run your day-to-day tasks without any issues whatsoever. Even if you leave several apps running in the background, it will handle this just fine. Of course, you're probably gonna want to play games on this phone, and it does so pretty well too. It only heated up when my colleague played Honkai Star Rail on max settings, but majority of this phone was used to play Pokemon Unite since a friend of mine got me into it. Long story short though, it can definitely keep up with popular graphic-intensive games with no frame rate drops or slowing down, and even if you max out the settings such as the one on Honkai Star Rail. All things considered, it's not bad. As for our synthetic benchmark scores, you can check it out right here on the screen. Okay, so when it comes to battery, the Realme 13 Pro packs a larger than usual 5200 mAh battery with 45 watt of Super VOOC fast charging support via the USB Type-C charger. While we do have a saying that battery life at the end of the day is dependent on the user, this device still performed pretty well. In PCMark's Work 3.0 battery test, our review unit lasted 18 hours and 37 minutes. The test was conducted with 50% brightness, 0 volume, and on airplane mode for reference. As for our video loop test, the phone provided a whopping 33 hours of media playback. For this test, we played the full HD movie with the same variables mentioned earlier. In terms of connectivity, you have the full suite available at your disposal. You have Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, NFC, and 5G. Call and network qualities on this phone work smoothly as intended. So, all things considered, the Realme 13 Pro is a great phone with a very capable camera and a very capable chipset despite the chipset being a bit dated. But now you're probably wondering, how much does all of this cost? Well, it's not that expensive. The Realme 13 Pro retails for 24,999 pesos for the 12GB plus 256GB variant, which is the same one we're using right now. Buyers who order their units early can also get a free Tech Life portable steam iron, which lasts until stocks are available. There are also various installment plans with 0% interest available, making it even lighter on your wallet. To conclude, the Realme 13 Pro is a decent phone, especially for those who are on a budget but want to venture into content creation. You have a very long-lasting battery, a capable chipset, and nice cameras with the benefit of AI, which not a lot of phones have today, especially at the price point of 25,000 pesos. But what do you think of the Realme 13 Pro? Would you cop? Or would you pick the Realme 13 Pro Plus by saving up a bit more? Whatever the case, share your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you found this video interesting or just enjoyed it, do drop a like and subscribe to watch more. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. And of course, visit yugatech.com to stay updated with the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been Jose. I'll catch you guys in the next video. By the way, if you like this setup, and just let us know what you think, and we might do more. This is a bit more homey, a bit more roomy. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Jane.